I'd probably say from a strength perspective, it would be bench. Bench is definitely my favorite, probably because it's my best lift currently. From an enjoyment and hypertrophy perspective, it's probably back. I love training back the most, even though it is actually one of my weakest body parts in terms of aesthetics. I do love training back.
Mhm. And I know everybody's least favorite training is leg day. That is, you don't have to do too much leg day, but you do need your legs, especially as a power lifter.
Yep.
I know there's days when you come out of the gym, especially if you do leg day, you go like, oh my God, you're just crawling and you just try to fight, you try to get stand up, and you're like, you feel like a little cow when he first day he's born and he's like the cat's trying to stand up and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
We're gonna hear some comments here this is from my man Tony says, uh, "Do you like to practice combat sports? So, have you ever done any combat sports in your
No,
training?"
I haven't. A few people have asked if I could get into, wrestling and obviously mixed wrestling and that sort of thing, but I haven't actually looked at seriously. Though I am considering doing it properly and actually getting into it because actually one of my ex clients did WWE and a few different wrestling federation things. So I was actually thinking of reaching out to him and getting some lessons. But currently, I do not do any form of wrestling or anything like that. Just fantasy wrestling, obviously, for that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah, because that is the one thing, especially with women with muscle, you have like a small fan base. It's mostly guys who fantasize about wrestling, other stuff. I mean, a lot of ladies who in sport of bodybuilding, they do like OnlyFans, her biceps, those things that helps them to make income because as you
Yeah,
know, being
I
yeah,
do all of that. But obviously, the wrestling, if I do like sessions or anything like that, it's more fantasy wrestling more than actual competitive wrestling. I don't offer competitive wrestling because I don't know how to do it competitively. But I do more, fantasy wrestling and the fun sort of light-hearted kind of thing, scissoring and that sort of thing. Yes.
yeah. Because sometimes even you got to be careful with injuries too. When
Yeah.
because you never know. Like I know a lot of guys. Like I know a lady who said she didn't want to do too much arm wrestling stuff because she didn't want to hurt her arm. Um, this is from Michael. He says, "Love her muscles in the clips." Yeah, yeah, that's what he's here for. Also, this is from Tony. He says, "You look great in the lingerie. Have you ever thought about doing a calendar? So, have you ever thought about doing your own calendar?"
A lot of people have asked me, and I should actually get round to doing it. But every time the end of the year kind of rolls around to sort out a calendar, I just forget about doing it. So hopefully, before the end of this year, I'll actually organize a calendar and release one for 2025. Um, but I always also feel like, okay, I don't know if anyone would actually buy it, if you know what I mean. So I'm like, should I even bother? Because especially after my Instagram got deleted, I was just like, well, I don't really have a huge reach. So setting up calendars, etc., I don't know if anyone would buy it.
Yeah.
So,
I can understand because, like I said again, the idea of women with muscle is not very appealing to the everyday person.
yeah,
That's why I said that with women with muscle, you have this kind of small fan base.
yeah,
It's just really it's a fantasy thing for a lot of the guys. And also, as these websites, as I call them, the beat the meat websites, that's what they are. They're the ones that really mostly make money off of y'all. Then you make money from them, but it's something that exists. It's something that not everybody wants to do, but it's something that I think works depending on where you want to go in your career. We have here, you know, this is from my man KL. He says, uh, "What music do you like to work out to when you go to the gym? You
yeah.
have a playlist when you work out?"
I don't actually listen to a playlist. I used to, and that was mostly like hard rock and alternative and that sort of thing. But right now, I tend not to because I'm obviously doing calisthenics and that sort of things, which requires a lot of movement, and I don't. I prefer big ear. What would you call them? Headphones rather than earphones, which of course get in the way. So I don't actually listen to music at the moment, but when I do, it's usually like hard rock, alternative, metal, that sort of thing. Especially if I'm going to be deadlifting heavy and squatting heavy, I like that kind of like in your face kind of music to get the heart racing and get you going.
Yeah, I know. When I work out, I used to listen to like more rap and hip hop, But then they had this one song on there. It's like someone. It's like a mix somebody made. It's like it's like Rocky Balboa,
Okay.
And that movie, the Rocky whole series inspired me, especially this quote from Rocky Balboa. It says like it's not no matter how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can take the hits and
Yeah.
keep moving forward. And you took a lot of hits in your life, and you kept moving forward,
Yeah.
and I gotta respect you for that. Um, Here we got here from man KL. Is there someone you pay attention to in the sport of bodybuilding? Do you still follow bodybuilding, or you just focus on your in your sport?
I still follow the people in my division, so Sarah and Natalia, Coelho, and all the big names, obviously, because that's my division. So I do pay attention to my division just to see kind of like how the physique's looking, how the judging's going, if they, going harder or softer, bigger, smaller, that sort of thing. Because obviously, if I ever do decide to compete again, it's good to have a reference point of what the judging is currently looking like and what girls are currently doing well. Like I do love women's physique, and I love the fact that the girls are not as big as bodybuilding, but shredded and really, really shredded, which I love because that it was always the thing. One thing that I could do. I might not be the biggest, but I really like to dial in and get as lean as possible. So I still pay attention to the women in my division in particular.
Yeah. Well, with my content of it, the women now in divisions are starting to get to melt a little bit. Even if you look at physique, the girls are getting bigger.
Yeah,
If you kind of go back to maybe when it first came out with Daylene Bailey and Julie McCarr and those others, yeah, that was the look. Now the girls in figure look more like those women now.
yeah.
And yeah, and the girls in physique are getting closer. Even Natalia, she's getting big.
Well, they get
Someone
bigger for sure.
yeah, yeah. Someone like Sarah still has that great. I think one thing I remember was someone saying that the reason why Sarah lost to Natalia that year back in 2022 because what she did was she did a mistake that Iris Kyle did a few years ago when she lost her Miss Olympia champion. She dialed herself down, and then
Okay.
the next person came in better condition and won. And Sarah bounced back. And I follow Sarah Vegas. I think I respect what she does, her content, and also what she's doing for bodybuilding, especially for y'all division. She wanted to have the Arnold to have Williams physique back, but but I'm not gonna get to that. That's too much about but I love Arnold, but Arnold, but he's not a fan of y'all women and muscle.
Yeah.
Um, this is from a man, KL. He says, um, "What's your diet like during the week?" So what's the diet like for you?
Um, so I eat a lot of eggs during the day. I'm pretty much kind of like I'm a high carb, high protein, moderate to low fats. That's kind of like the way I roll. So a few whole eggs, a lot of egg whites, a little bit of red meat. And when I cut, obviously I cut the red meats and I go vegan, not vegan, vegetarian. Tend to go vegetarian, and that's not something against red meat or anything. It's just I was vegetarian for a few years, and I do now struggle to eat red meat as a result, which is terrible because I used to be the biggest red meat eater, and I still love red meat, and I still push red meat on most of my clients. But for me personally, I find eggs and yogurt and dairy to be my friend, and lots of carbs because carbs make me happy in my heart.
Everybody loves it. Everybody loves carbs. Carbs, you love that sweet taste of a nice piece of bread or a cake, like that, or or you're over there in England, a biscuit, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand that. With me, I'm pre-diabetic. I gotta be careful what I eat, but I still like a little bit sugar, a little sweet. Yeah, it's a lot. Food can be both a weapon and a tool for a bodybuilder. Like
Oh,
when you when you're like off on you, do you have a cheat meal or what's the thing you want? That thing you desire most when you don't have to diet. What is
well, I had regular cheat meals, so I'm not depriving myself of anything. But 100% Cocoa Pops. Like I'm a Cocoa Pops hoard. That is my favorite. did discover Crave recently. I did not know about Crave cereal until we went to our latest trip to America, and I got like packets and packets of Crave. But for me, it's Cocoa Pops and Craves, 100%. I'm a cereal person through and through. So as terrible as it sounds, like you can take most things, but I do love cereal. Oh, and Double Crunch KFC, the extra crispy. You can't find that anywhere else but in the USA. So when we go over, we always get ourselves a nice Double Crunch KFC. But that's about it, really.
Well, right now, Lee, you make me hungry right now because it's gonna be a lunch in another few minutes. But yeah, food, like I said, I mean, I'm telling you, like you go cocoa pops, son. So yeah, I can understand it. It's just sometimes, especially when it's something nice and something sweet and something that just food it's just a feeling for the soul. Like I grew up here in the South, like we had Easter. Easter just passed. We used to have a big Easter dinner. My mom would cook a couple of cakes, and we have banana pudding. We have I never liked eggs, so yeah, double eggs and potato salad and ham and all that. And it's just sometimes it's a good feeling when you eat a nice piece of food. But then healthy eating is good. Like I could never be vegan or vegetarian because I like meat. I couldn't do it. I grew up eating, eating meat most of my life. It's hard to walk away from them. But I have interviewed some ladies who are vegan competitors, and it's a good healthy lifestyle. But I don't know if it's something for me. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nutritionally, it's actually better to be to eat red meat. And I actually had that discussion the other day with one of my clients, because he was like tossing and turning. He was like, "Is it healthier to be vegan or is it healthier to do keto?" And from my perspective, it's healthier to do keto than to do a vegan diet because you're lacking so many nutrients that you don't necessarily get from your food. But that's a different story altogether, and I respect everyone's decision to be vegan and vegetarian, etc., etc. So, for me, more than anything, food is a tool and something that you need to live, but I don't necessarily live to eat, if that makes sense. Like, I love my food and I love a good cheat meal, but for me, the food that I eat, which is healthy and balanced, gets me through the day. And then on the weekend, I get to splurge with one Cocoa Pop meal every weekend. So, it's enough to sustain me, and I don't need to go kind of crazy during the week.
Yeah, this is from my kid. It's like this. I haven't had Cocoa Puff cereal since I don't know when. I can't remember. I don't eat cereal much anymore myself because I don't. Milk's not my friend anymore because I gotten older now.